Okay, so coming to the hip, you take your hip measurement. Mine is 44 inches. 44 divided by 4, it gives me 11 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to put 11 inches there. And then on the crotch measurement, or on the crotch line rather, we're going to put our lap measurement. My lap measurement is 28 inches. 28 divided by 2 is 14. Okay, so I'm just going to place my tape there. Okay, so you divide the waist by 4, hip by 4, lap or your thigh measurement by 2. Okay, and then your hem would also be divided by 2. But okay, so this is going to be a very open legged palazzo. We're going to see that because we're going to be adding the kissing pleat, like I said earlier. So we're now going to join those lines. Okay, I'm just going to come this way, and here by the hip, before I move from the hip, I'm just going to add some ease because I don't want it to be so tight. I want it to be, you know, free fitting, but having a nice shape, or shaping my figure as it is. So I think I'm going to use half at the hip. Okay, this is just for ease, and then I'm just going to connect the lines that way. Okay, so having ruled out our horizontal lines, like I said, this is our waistline, hip line, crotch line, and then we have our hemline. I've not included the knee line because really we won't be needing it, because this is going to be a free fitting palazzo. But if you are drafting a trouser, you will need to include your knee line from the waist. Okay, so here at the waistline, I hope you can see. Let me bring the paper down. I'll just put this there. Okay, so at the waistline here, I'm going to measure out 1 inch. This is just to help us shape the trouser, because you want it to be properly shaped at the waistline and the hip line. Okay, so I'm just going to come in by by 1 inch. I'll use a marker so that you can see, because I'd written waistline there. So, but anyway, okay, so we're going to use that there, and then we're going to start taking our measurements from this 1 inch. Okay, I'm gonna write there so that we can differentiate it. Okay, we're going to start taking our measurement from this 1 inch that we have measured here. So my waist, or the waist that we are working with, is 41, so that we can align it properly with the upper part. Okay, so 41 divided by 4, okay, it gives me 10.25. okay, so I'm just going to mark it here, and I won't be adding any ease here because I want it to be snug nicely at the waistline. Okay, so that is our 10.25, and then we come to the hip line. Okay, so the hip that we're working with is 44. My hip is 44, so 44 divided by 4 gives us 11. So I'm just going to measure the 11. Okay, I'm going to measure the 11 here. Okay, and I'm going to leave just ½ inch for ease, because yes, I want it to be fitted and to fall nicely on the curves, but I also want it to be comfortable enough for you to sit and to just move around. Okay, so I'm going to put ½ inch ease allowance. Okay, and then we come to the crotch area. Our crotch, this crotch line, that's where we're going to place our thigh measurement or our lap measurement. My lap measurement is 28, so that is the widest part of my thigh. It's 28, and we are going to be dividing that by 2. It gives me 14. Okay, it gives me 14. So your waist and the hip, you will divide by 4. Okay, the lap measurement you will divide by 2. And the next thing is to connect this point. Okay, I'm just going to go around here, and I'm going to join this way all the way to the crotch line. Okay, and then I'm going to get this curved ruler to just help me make the curve. So for you to know, so from this corner, you see the edge where this line meets your crotch line, just go up by 1.5 inches, okay, at an angle. So diagonally you're going to measure 1.5 inches, and then you're just going to curve it. So your curve should pass through that area. So I'm just going to come in with the ruler, and I'll try as much as possible to go through those points. Okay, so I'm just gonna curve it this way. Oops, I just made a mark on my ruler. Thank God it's not a permanent marker, because some of the measurements were going to be rubbed off. Okay, so we have something looking like this. Now, because I want it to be fitted at the waist, and at the same time I want it to create just a nice shape, what I'm going to do now, okay, I want you to see this. Okay, so we've gone on to draw that. I hope what I was doing was clear. Okay, so I just joined where we took our waist measurement divided by 4. It was this point. Our hip divided by 4 plus 1/2 inch is, okay, and then I just drew a straight line all the way to the crotch line. From there I just took 1/2 inch. So from that corner you just take in 1.5 inches, and then you draw your curve. Okay, so the next thing is I want to shape my palazzo this side, okay, so that it will sit nicely at the back area. So what you do is you'll come to this point. Remember, we took in 1 inch before we started placing our measurements on the waist. So this is 1 inch. I hope you can see that. So I'm just going to take my curved ruler, and I'm going to join it back to the hip. I'm going to join it back to the hip. Okay, this is just so that it can give me a nice shape there. Okay, you want it to give you a nice shape there at the back. So this should be at the edge. Okay, so I was just coming in 1 inch, and then I'm connecting it back there. So because this is it's going to be a free fitting palazzo, because it's also going to have a pleat at the center here. It's going to have a kissing pleat. So we're going to be doing that next, but I wanted us to do what? To go to the down part. We're going to finish this off. So I didn't include the knee measurement, because of course, like I said, it's not going to be a fitted or a normal trouser. It's loose. So from that thigh measurement that we took from the crotch area, we are going to just drop a straight line, and you can see that it already creates that wide shape. Okay, but I just want to do one thing. I just want to measure. This is 14 inches. I'm going to measure 14 inches all the way down, so that I can try as much as possible to get a straight line. I'm just going to drop the line all the way down. So if you've got that long ruler, this would be the best time to use it. Okay, my paper is kind of wrinkling somewhere down there because I had to join the pieces of paper to get the length, but even so I didn't manage to get the length that I wanted, unfortunately, but I will be getting the length once I place it on the fabric itself. Okay, so this is just to demonstrate for those who might not know how to draft a palazzo. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, we've shaped it in by the waist, and then it's wide at the bottom. We are going to make it even wider so that we can have the pleat that I want in the center of the leg. Okay, so now I want us to drop the waistline. So first of all, you know, our trousers or our skirts, they need to sit properly by the sides. So in order to achieve that, that's why if you've noticed, I left this my work table is small, so I left this 2 inches. Okay, so what you do is you just come up. I'll use 1.75. You can use 2 inches. Okay, and you're just going to extend that line up. We're going to extend this. Okay, and then we're going to drop it to come and meet your waistline. So as I was saying, because our skirts, our trousers, our palazzo pants and all those, they need to sit properly at the sides and at the back. So what we're going to do is to elevate this side, and because we're going to be using this pattern to cut the back button, I'm going to raise this for the back, and then at the front we're going to drop it by 1 inch, or you can use ½ inch, but I normally leave it this way. I maintain this is the original waistline. Okay, and then for the back we're going to be raising it. That's why I left this extra inches, and then for the front we're going to be dropping by 1 inch. I'm just going to draw that quickly, and then we can go and I'm going to cut this, and then we're going to use it to draft the back very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. So we're going to connect this point back to the original waistline. So this raising of the waist is going to help us when we are cutting the back pattern. Okay, I hope it doesn't confuse you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and then the front, for the front you come to this line and go down by 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to do that when we go to the fabric so that you don't get confused. Okay, so basically this is the pattern that we have created for the front. It doesn't have the length that I want, but I'm going to get the length when I'm cutting on fabric. So I'm just going to quickly cut this out. And then we're going to place it on another pattern paper so that we can cut the back. Okay, so here we created this shape so that our palazzo has got a nice shape, and then it's going to look nice. So this particular design actually consumes a lot of fabric. I'm working with about, I would say about 5.5 yards, because I had bought a 6 yards fabric, but I used a small piece to make a head wrap. So the rest is what I have to make the body and to make the palazzo. Okay, and then so under that I'm just going to place another piece of fabric, another piece of paper. It's actually easier to draft to the back because you've already taken the measurements and everything. You're just going to be adding 2 inches to this pattern, okay, to take care of the sewing allowances and all the other, you know, the zipper allowances, because remember this particular jumpsuit is going to have a zipper at the back, so you need to take that into consideration. Okay, so I hope you can see that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come to our crotch area. This is our crotch, okay, and I'm going to measure, I'll give it 3 inches. I'm a little bit heavy on the down part, so I want to have enough room. Okay, so at the crotch area I'm going to add 2 inches, and then everywhere else I'm going to take in 2 inches. Remember, we didn't add any sewing allowances on the front pattern because all these allowances are transferred to the back. That's why your back pattern will be bigger than your front pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to be adding 2 inches, and I added 3 inches at the back of the crotch, and then 2 inches up. Okay, and then here I'm just going to trace it the way it is. Okay, the way it is, and then 2 inches, 3 inches, and then 2 inches down, and then I'm going to cut it. Okay, so I just had a little accident here. The phone fell and it actually cut me. You can see I'm bleeding a little bit. I'm just going to put a plaster there. But I was trying to explain one thing, that as I was saying about the front pattern, let me fold it this way. About the front waist pattern, remember I had maintained this was the original waistline, and then we raised it by 1.5 so that we could cover the back. Remember, you need to have enough room at the back. When you sit, it will be comfortable. So now we need to come to the front and lower it by 1 inch. We had already made that mark from the original waistline. You lower the front pattern by 1 inch. Okay, so that's where we put that mark there. Okay, so I'm just going to connect it from this original waistline. We're going to come down by 1 inch. So this is the front one. You will see why I'm saying front one, front two. Especially if you're a beginner, you probably need to mark your pattern. So from the original waistline, we're just going to lower it 1 inch. We're going to lower it 1 inch. Okay, and then the other one will be higher. The back pattern will be higher. You can even use 0.75. You can use ½ inch. So yeah, so you can use 0.75 if you so wish. So you would join it from here and connect to that 0.75 from the original line. Actually, let me follow that one. So then we're just going to cut off what we don't need, and our front pattern will be ready. I think I'm going to add some pockets here, so I'll cut those when I'm cutting the fabric. We'll be inserting some side pockets, which is very, very simple to do. Okay, so we lowered it by 0.75. You can use 1 inch, you can use ½ inch, it will work. Okay, so this is our front pattern. Okay, basically this is what it would look like. Okay, so now, like I had said, that I want this particular palazzo to have a box pleat or a kissing pleat. Is it a kissing pleat from the center? So you can either use the position of your bust span. Mine is 4.5, so you would be measuring 4.5 would be somewhere there. So you would mark it there and just draw a straight line. Okay, that is one way you can do it. Or so you can say whatever your bust span is, then you draw a straight line. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find the midpoint of the waistline. Okay, I'm going to use the midpoint of this waistline. So I have about 10.5, so I'm just going to fold the tape measure, bend it, and then where the crease forms, so that is where your measurement should be. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it there, and then from here I'm just going to draw a straight line all the way through to the hem of our pattern. So I'm just going to place my ruler. Press. Hey, I'm telling you, this language, okay, I hope it's straight. I think I'm going to go and get my long ruler and use that instead. Okay, sorry for that. I had to go and look for the long ruler, because you see, when I was using the shorter one, it was going like skewed, and I also had to put something to stop the bleeding. I'm still trying to understand. When the phone fell, I don't know really what cut my finger here, because I don't really see any sharp thing there. But anyway, so what I'm going to do now is to cut this pattern open all the way to the edge of the pattern paper. Okay, we're going to snip through. So what I did to get this line, I just found the center by folding the tape measure, or you can fold the pattern itself and then get the midpoint, draw a straight line, and just cut that piece open. And we're doing this only to the front piece. If you want, by the way, you can also do this to the back piece if you want it to have a pleat at the back also. Okay, so as I was saying, this particular design actually consumes a lot of fabric, so make sure you have enough fabric if you're going to do this. And so I'm just going to put another piece down there. We're going to place this on top. So the size of your pleat depends on what you want. I think I'm going to add about 6 inches, and then so the next thing is just to tape this new pattern. Okay, so let's see how much we have there. Okay, so I want it to be 6 inches, so I hope you can see this. Okay, so this is about 7. Okay, so I just want to place this ruler here as a weight so that it doesn't move. Okay, I just want it to go down, but it's perfect. So this is going to be about, I'm wondering, maybe I should make it 8 inches so that the pleat is 4 inches, 4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to spread it open. Okay, so I'm spreading it open to 8 inches. So it's the extra piece that you're adding there should be 8 inches wide. Okay, it should be 8 inches. Just trying to make sure so that by the time I'm taping, the added fabric should be uniform. Okay, it should be uniform. Okay, so it's perfect. Okay, I was just trying to check all the way to to the bottom of the paper. So the next thing, I'm just going to stick it with sellotape, and then we'll be having our new pattern and we'll be ready to cut on our fabric. Okay, this is how it looks like. So I'm just going to grab my sellotape and I'm gonna stick the new pattern to the one that we traced out first, and then we're going to have our design ready.